Welcome to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Charlotte Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. My special guests today are Candice Devine and DJ Sheridan of Prescott, Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you.
We had fun. We've been here once before. It's exciting to be back.
I think it's been about a year.
Probably.
And, we need to do it more than once a year.
Sure.
I think we need to, book
it feels like that was yesterday.
Right?
I know. It really does. It does not feel.
So let's look at the calendar before you leave and let's,
Deal.
book you early, right?
Deal.
Right? You don't have a problem getting booked early on the show, do you?
No. I prefer it. You just put it in the calendar and then
Plans your
everything is
schedule
set.
easier.
Exactly right. Well, you've had both of you have had careers in entertainment, and here you have careers changing Prescott through your hard work and the work you do here in the community. So let's kind of flash forward to today. We're in May. Mm-hmm. All right. Summer is on the way. I think just before we started the show, you said you're ready for summer.
I'm so ready. Well, I'm hoping, I keep reading, I don't know if it's true, but I keep reading that we're supposed to have a really big monsoon summer. And so I'm very excited for that in hopes of it. So I'm like, come on already. Let's go.
How about you?
Oh, it's just busy. Busy. So
You ready for how does the monsoon affect your sales of houses?
It really actually has never affected when we've had really big monsoon seasons pre-pandemic. We're still selling real estate.
Yeah.
I do remember having to pull over, on a drive and stop in the car for 10 minutes, but that's about it.
And should we remind people the name of your real estate company?
Yes, it's Sheridan Property Group. I'm DJ Sheridan.
Sheridan Property Group. All right. And Candice, you are going to be coming to Charlotte Hall Museum in July to sing the national anthem.
I'm so excited.
Brand new event, which we're going to get into here today.
Yeah.
And you're still producing shows here in town. You had a big show that's on hiatus right now.
Yes, the Pure Imagination Music Festival.
Right.
We are not putting up this today, right now in May 2026, but we are coming back in 2027.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was, what's funny is that a lot of live events felt that way about this year. The last couple of years have been really tough.
Right.
For live events, both in ticket pricing, artist pricing, all the things, the logistics, the infrastructure, labor, everything, had a swift spike, which is just how the world has been working. And so it was really nice actually to take a year and go, you know what, we're going to take a step back. We're going to breathe for a second. We're going to survey what the landscape is doing, because it's really important to me to put up an arts and cultural event like that is affordable. And we were struggling to keep it affordable. And so now we've kind of reimagined some things and gotten a little bit creative, and we're very excited to bring it back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there has been a trend in popular culture across the United States, really sometime the last 10 years, maybe it was around the nostalgia of the 50th anniversary of Woodstock and Monterey, and there's a lot of grandparents telling their grandkids, oh, we used to go to summer festivals all the time. And I think 10, 15 years ago, there started being this resurgence of big festivals. We see it over in Southern California with Stagecoach, and of course, different events like Burning Man. But all over the country, though, there are regional festivals, country music, alternative music, soul, bluegrass, country, or rock and roll, or just even maybe a weekend of a little bit of all of it.
Totally,
right?
Which is what we do. We put up an eclectic festival, so I always want there to be a little bit of something for everyone. And the idea that also, expanding everybody's palette a little bit. If you came to see the country star or that person, maybe you also loved the, hip hop act, or you found a rock and roll band that you weren't familiar with before. So that's the idea.
So when will this be in 2027?
Third weekend in May.
So you're going to bring it back in May.
Yep.
I think that's May 15th, 2027.
Next year, yeah. I think it ends on the 15th.
And are you going to where do you hold it?
At Watson Lake.
So you're going back to Watson Lake.
Yeah.
Now, Watson's Lake's known for a lot of festivals here in town. I'm sure when you're selling real estate, DJ, and you're driving people around and they're looking for different neighborhoods and they're saying, let's go out that direction. Or you're like, show us what people do for fun. Watson Lake's on your bucket list.
What's funny is I've been giving a community tour now for a good 7 years, because most people come from out of the area and they've never been to Prescott. So when they come to Prescott, they need to see what every side of town has to offer. And that's the beauty of the topography changes within a 10, 15-minute radius. And yes, Watson Lake is definitely on that tour.
Now, is this something where people come and camp?
Yeah. So for my festival, you're right. There are a couple different, big events out there. There's the Big Sting, which focuses on kind of up and coming country music. It is a fundraiser for a nonprofit out of Flagstaff. I know that they have the Highland Games out there, which is, Scottish culture, which is very cool.
Easter
Is the service is out there, and the powwow is out there. Mine is the only large-scale, eclectic, multi-stage music festival, and we also encourage camping. We have free kayaking. We have 40 to 60 artisan vendors. We do 10 to 15 food trucks. We have an entire kids area.
Kids 10 and under get in for free.
Kids 10 and under get in for free, and I'm thinking of upping that number the older my kid gets, the longer I let the free young come in. I'm like, what age is my kid? Okay, that's a good age to let them in free. So, we really try to reach out. We work with the Hopi tribe, and we've reached out to the Yavapai, and we try to have some of our indigenous brothers and sisters open the festival with a blessing or ceremony. And we really go above and beyond to try to do as many things as we possibly can. We give away hundreds of veteran tickets as a thank you to our veterans. And I'm so sorry. I just made all that noise.
It's live.
I know.
It's fun.
You just gave me that talk about let's not make all that crazy noise, and I just did. But so we really go above and beyond to try to make the most exceptional, wondrous experience we possibly can. So yeah, we'll be bringing it back in 2027, the third weekend of May, and everyone in the audience can expect it to be everything that it has been before and even more.
So tell me a little bit more about this multi-stage event. Now, in Iowa City, where we lived for 9 years, my wife works for the VA. Every 4th of July weekend, Iowa City has a big jazz festival, very famous jazz festival. Bring a lot of artists in from Chicago.
Amazing.
And then they'll have the fireworks, on the 4th, or, that Saturday night. And there's multiple stages all over downtown Iowa City.
So cool.
Right? A little bit like Akronite, but so, you'll have some real jazz happening, someone doing Steely Dan's, Herbie Hancock, that sort of stuff. But the multi-stage event is different from the concerts I went to in the 80s, which was one stage, band after band after band, starting around 11 in the morning until, whenever, right? So tell me about the multi-stage event.
Well, it's a twofold answer. One, we have two large stages so that the lineup never overlaps. So when you buy a ticket to the festival, you have the opportunity to see every act. Now, whether you choose to come all day, to your point, 11 to 11, or whether you decide to come at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just enjoy the headliners in the evening, all of it is welcome. But we want it to be an environment where the music doesn't stop. You're getting something fabulous to hear in your backdrop, no matter what activity you're participating in.
Really no lag time.
There's no lag time, yeah. To what you're talking about with the jazz festival in the Midwest, that is what I'm aiming to grow here. I would love to incorporate our businesses and our downtown in a way not unlike an Akronite, but focused for the festival. So people come in and can buy a week-long festival pass, and you could say, on Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon, the Birdcage is doing a featured act, and then the Raven's doing a featured act, and then the theater's doing a featured act throughout the week, leading up to the big festival event in the park. And so that's what we're working toward, is a way to encourage our community to also be involved, also make a great, amount of money. Hopefully the idea would be to spur our economy locally, and our tourism, and get people appreciating our history and our town and utilizing it as a walking city and a music city. And so that's the goal, is to build up to what is already in existence, which is the 2-stage event and the unstopped, continuous musical spectrum.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And right across the table from us, DJ, you are currently the leader of the volunteers or the ambassadors of the Chamber of Commerce. You have a big title. I want to make sure I get it correct. It's not president of the chamber. That's Sherry Heine.
Yep.
What is your title?
I am the board chair this year for the Prescott Chamber of Commerce.
The board chair. It's an all-volunteer group. Right?
Yes, I've been on the board of directors since 2022 or 2023.
Right. And so the two of you brainstorming ways to bring in, serving the whole community as board chair of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce, and these ideas of bringing in music and hotel rooms and people to come visit the city. This is all a great way to keep people coming to Prescott throughout the year, because we have some shoulder seasons and some slow seasons, and we feel here at Charlotte Hall Museum we play a strong part in that cycle of visitors.
Right. Like, I'd love to use your amphitheater as one of our locations.
Well,
you know?
we're going to talk about that right after we thank some of our sponsors.
Sounds good.
And come back and hear a little bit about the goals that you have this year. You've now been in your role since January, February?
January 1st, I started.
All right. We're going to take a little break. Thank our sponsors. Come back and talk with DJ Sheridan and Candice Devine about all the great things happening here in Prescott, Arizona, USA.
Well, thank you, Stuart, and thank you, DJ and Candice. My name is Stan. I'm the radio man, and after many, many years in broadcasting, I can tell you right now, just from the first segment, this is going to be a great radio program. In fact, a great radio show. So you make sure you show up and stay tuned. By the way, my work is to help people just like Stuart and just like you to be on the radio. I've been on radio many, many years around the world, and now through What It Takes Radio, we are here to help you do what it takes to get on your own radio program and your own radio station. That's possible in this AI performance economy stage age. That's right, stage and age. You know, just a few years ago, Stuart had never really done this. He is a world-renowned, really, writer and historian, but he'd never done any broadcasting or radio work, but he took the challenge. And he started just simply doing a little 4 or 5 minute promotion for True West magazine. And then when other opportunities came in, he said, Stan, do you think we could do a radio program? Well, Arizona Roundup is now 64 episodes. We have to celebrate 66 pretty soon. And it is the kind of program that is now known for its quality, both in entertainment, information, education, and most importantly, in contact with the community that supports it. Prescott, Arizona, the mile-high cowboy city. Hey, perhaps you know somebody who would be on the radio, should be. Why don't you encourage them to do their own podcast radio station or their own podcast radio program? I would be grateful for the opportunity to help you and your friends and your colleagues and your business and your great cause do just that. So just reach out to me at Stan, S-T-A-N, Stan at witradio.net, Stan at witradio.net, and I would love to have the same pleasure of doing with you and your organization and your great cause as I have the opportunity to work with Arizona Roundup. And speaking of them, let's go back for episode 2 of this program just for you.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Charlotte Hall Museum. My special guests today are Candice Devine and DJ Sheridan of Prescott, Arizona, and we're talking about upcoming events here in Prescott. We're talking about what's the
festival, Pure Imagination Festival.
Pure Imagination Festival coming back in May 15th, 2027.
Correct.
But we are a great music city. And speaking of music, DJ, you just said in the first segment that you've been involved with our Chamber of Commerce as a board member since 2022. You've been making some music in the background, helping cheerlead, helping lead, inspire the growth of our city.
Yes, and more of our business community, and it's been a wonderful learning experience. And you know, I moved here 13 years ago and didn't know a single soul. So a lot of the events of how I met a lot of our business people was going through a lot of the chamber mixers, the Coffee Connect, the hikes at night, and you get to meet this wonderful business community. And when they asked me if I would like to be on the board, I felt honored to be able to see what I can put in my ideas and input for the next generation, for the younger generation. So, and then now I'm board chair. They asked me, and I didn't know what I was getting into, Stuart. And
right.
It's been a busy year so far.
Do you have a separate email, a separate bat phone?
No separate bat phone. They still get my normal email, but the emails have increased in 2026.
You know what I think has been exciting, what I've been watching downtown and around the city. And, you know, I love downtown Prescott. It's where I fell in love with Prescott as a kid. What's interesting, though, right now is people are longtime residents And new residents are coming from across the United States, around the world, coming to say, make Prescott their hometown. We are everybody's hometown. And the doors are open to become involved in this community, whether you're a volunteer or a new business. I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurism, a lot of infill, people reimagining spaces. And I think that's really exciting. It shows the creativity as well as the openness of our community to new business and new people.
And that's one of my favorite events to attend is the ribbon cutting for said new business that came into town. So we get to meet people from all over the United States, and wherever they're coming from what I've experienced on the real estate side of my business is everybody is coming here for a reason, and the top two reasons are climate and community. And people don't want to change that. I know that's a big fear within our community, that people are like, oh, all the Californians or Washingtons or said whatever state, they're going to come in here and change all of our ways. And that is the complete opposite from what I've experienced, especially with a lot of the new businesses coming into town. They just want to thrive in a beautiful city and live amongst this wonderful community.
Well, it has this, if you are a film fan and you know Frank Capra, you know, it has that feel when you drive down the hill, whether you're coming in on 89 for the first time, or you've come in on 69 or in from I-40 down through Paulden and Chino Valley, and you make it into downtown, there's suddenly this warmth of welcoming that's a familiarity. And whether you grew up in the Midwest or you've just admired that Midwestern downtown plaza growing up and going, you know, someday I might live in a town like that.
Or just people waving to you again as you're arriving into town or driving through a neighborhood. That little act, I can't tell you how many clients go, everyone in town waves
I know.
to you.
Our moniker should be everybody's hometown as long as you wave.
Right.
Or just keep waving.
Just keep waving.
I wave to everybody. It's like a secondary trait now.
I used to have a Jeep, and you know, have you noticed Jeep drivers have their own little signal, you know, your Jeep driver, you know, you get a little tip,
a little nod.
Little nod, hey, Jeep driver. And you're right. I think they're here in Prescott. If you wave or you say hello to somebody, or you're walking down the street and say, isn't it a beautiful day? I'd say 95% of the time someone will answer back and say, it sure is.
Yeah.
You know, it's great being here. And we were talking about weather and the four seasons here. I think that there's something very attractive to living somewhere with four seasons. And when I was walking around our gardens yesterday here at Charlotte Hall and our arboretum, we have 4 acres here at Charlotte Hall Museum. And I was talking about the fact that we haven't had much of a winter. It was a little bit, it reminded me of a little bit of the down in the Valley of the Sun of the Phoenix area, or where I grew up in North Hollywood, where it was just kind of one season this winter.
That's exactly what it felt like.
I call it sprinter, this, you know, spring, winter that just kind of was like. And I know both of you have some time in Southern California. You know, when people move here, they like that change of season. It seems that time slows down a little bit because it's not just continuously sunshine and 70 degrees.
This was the first winter in 13 years that I've experienced what we just went through.
Right.
I mean, we typically
there's a nice shift.
Remember last year we got snow April 17th.
Yeah.
So it was just an unusual one. But again, like you were saying, I hope it's a big monsoon season.
I'm hoping it was dry for a reason. Like it's going to pay off in the summer.
We need it. Colorado River needs it. All of our lakes need it. The reservoirs need it.
Yeah, it just cleans everything
Let's just
off.
get a good old rain in.
Yeah, we need it.
And, you know, those monsoons are so you can watch them build up around the Bradshaw Mountains
So cool to watch.
swirl in. And, you know, I need to have some people in here for a show to talk about safety during the monsoons, you know, because if you get too used to dry washes or dry creeks, that's when you become a little lax in paying attention that there's a storm over the hillside, just up the mountain, and that water's coming to you.
Well, and it's so quick how our weather can change during that time.
Most definitely, you know, because you can wake up one morning in the summer here in Prescott and you're having that beautiful sunshine, and then the clouds start coming in around 11, and suddenly it's hailing at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then by 3 o'clock, you're out there going, man, it's so hot. What's going on? Where'd those clouds go?
I'll never forget in 2021, my band Ponderosa Grove, we did our record release show in the downtown square. And I think we had 5,000 or 6,000 people come out for it, which was really super fun. But it was 100.
It was the record high. It was 105 degrees in Prescott.
Correct. And
that was June 18th, 2021.
Wow, I love that your brain can do that. My brain does not do that. I remember that it was incredibly hot and that I was sweating through the dress I was trying to wear. That's what I remember. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we had a great show and everybody stuck it out. The sun went down and then it got beautiful and there was this gorgeous breeze and it was stunning downtown Prescott. And then the next day, leveled by rain because the monsoon finally hit. Like the heat had finally built up. But it was one of those things that had you been in town on the day that we had the record release show and then we're in town the day after, you would not have thought it was the same place.
Yeah.
It changed so rapidly. But it was fantastic.
We need more of that this year.
Yeah.
Well, we're all looking forward to a great summer. We're going to take another break, thank our sponsors. We're going to come back and talk about all the fun happening here in Prescott over the next few months and why people should be making their plans to come to Prescott, Arizona this summer.
Indeed.
Hello, this is Stan again, and just as I said, the program keeps getting better, doesn't it? And one of the things that I told Stuart, and he was a good student about it, I said, get the businesses and the organizations in your community involved. And so we've got sponsors, people who care enough about their community and about this Charlotte Hall Museum and about the program itself. So we just simply want to do a shout out to at least some of the people who've made this possible. So thank you to Blind Brothers of Arizona, Finlay Toyota. I remember one guy told me he was a mechanic, and I said, what kind of car gives the least amount of trouble? He says, no question, Toyota. Hey, Elkin and Horn, I love that. They help bring your message to life. Foothills Bank, not just a bank, a place to help you build a home, build a life, and build a business. And of course, one of my favorite places, no matter where I go, the hardware store. Love hardware stores and True Value Hardware in Prescott, Arizona. And of course, remember, for something that's very special, Charlotte Cellar, the Bashford House, good gifts, good entertainment, good things, right there as a part of your Charlotte Hall Museum experience. Thank you for being a viewer, a listener, and a recommender of this fine program. Now, here we go, part 3.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Charlotte Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. My special guests today are Candice Devine and DJ Sheridan. We are talking about our desire for some big monsoon rains this summer to cool things down and bring that flavor of summer. But we want the monsoons to be a little particular when they arrive. We have a big event coming up here next Saturday, May 16th, Charlotte Cellar. It's our annual event. We raise money for our educational programs, our mission, our curatorial, and it's our big celebration here from 4 to 7 next Saturday. We're going to have many restaurants, and they're all paired with, we have a sommelier who pairs beautiful wines with the foods of our local restaurants. And it's a really fun evening. We also have mead and beer that are paired with foods, and we've got great sponsors. Now, have either of you been to our event, Charlotte Cellar?
I think we were there last year.
I think so.
Yeah.
This year, I'm
she's
performing
singing
out of
in
town.
LA.
Yeah.
Singing in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Where are you singing in Los Angeles?
At a place called The Den Studios near downtown LA.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to miss you this year.
I know. I'm sorry.
Charlotte Cellar.
As you were talking about it, I was like, oh, that sounds
I know. I was like, we
should be there.
We leave that morning.
Well, we're going to have a lot of people I know this year gathering in the Rose Garden to have their photos taken with Charlotte Hall, our brand new, larger than life statue that we dedicated last Saturday.
Oh, fantastic.
And she was sculpted by local artist Heather Johnson Berry. And we had lots of dignitaries here and about 300 people celebrating Charlotte, who this Mother's Day, I'm asking everyone to consider her as the mother of Arizona.
Oh, I like it.
And so there's going to be an article in the local Daily Courier this Sunday about dedicated to Mother's Day and to Charlotte Hall. Amazing. So before you leave today, when we walk out in the gardens, you're going to have to visit Charlotte.
Yes.
I would love it.
And the first day after the statue went up, that Saturday, went out there around 4 o'clock. I put my hand up on her hand, and that bronze is just kind of warm in the late afternoon. She's
so
really
cool.
She's got a great personality. I believe it's one of the most important public monuments in the state of Arizona. And it's actually, if you can believe this, only the second statue placed on state property dedicated to a named woman.
Really?
I do believe that. I mean, I wish I could tell you I didn't believe that, but I do believe that. I think it's fantastic, though. More of it. That's
The
fantastic.
first one was put up in 2024.
Wow.
So it's all been just recent, within the last 2
Her
years.
good friend, Francine Munns from the Flagstaff area, who was a Munns Park. She was a suffragette leader. And she and she and Charlotte were very good friends.
Yeah.
So now both of them have their statues. And public art is a very interesting topic here in Prescott because as you go around the city, the next time you're walking around, driving around, folks who are looking at homes or, want to relocate here, you can share with them that we were the first place in Arizona to put up a piece of public art. The Rough Rider statue put up for statehood on the plaza was the first public art put up in the state of Arizona, the first bronze public art.
Wow.
I did not know that.
So we are Monument City.
Yeah.
We, outside of Wesley Boland Plaza at the state capitol, we have more public art than one town, than I believe any other, especially statues, monumental statues. And we have, the other interesting part of it is very few of them are of a named person. They represent an idea or a value. So Bill Nebaker's statue of Ernest Love that was dedicated about 2 years ago at our wonderful airport here, the Prescott Regional Airport, of Ernest Love, one of our World War I heroes. If you drive around town, that's one of the very few named statues that are out in a public place. Yeah.
I always learn stuff from you. That's exciting.
I didn't realize that.
No, that's
a
really...
great fact.
And, so Prescott does not sometimes own a lot of the firsts, right? As we were the territorial capital. We tell everybody that. But we were where filmmaking started in Arizona. We are where public art started in Arizona. We have some of the first public theaters. And
Good job, Prescott.
So we've always had we have one of the first, it's not the first, but one of the first newspapers. There was one that was down in southern Arizona before ours, but maybe the second newspaper to be printed in Arizona. So we're a literary city. We're an artistic city. Of course, Charlotte Hall, she is an inspiration, I believe, to men and women to be civically active, but also to women in breaking barriers in terms of just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. And in the article I wrote about Mother's Day, the woman who started Mother's Day in West Virginia in 1908 was encouraged by her mother to go to college and be a professional. And so after her mother died, she decided, I'm going to start something to honor mothers. Yeah. And she started Mother's Day. And by 1909, most states were adopting it. And then Anna Reeves Jarvis was her name. She went all the way to the president. And in 1914, President Wilson declared Mother's Day to be the second Sunday of every May, a national holiday, and that you should fly the American flag wherever you are in honor of mothers.
Wow.
And so I read the declaration yesterday as I was doing some research on the topic. But Charlotte Hall, of course, was encouraged by her mother to be a free thinker, to be an independent woman, to be educated, to stand up for herself. Charlotte had a complicated family life. Her father was abusive, not educated, but because of Adeline Hall, Charlotte's mother, her mother always made sure that Charlotte had educational opportunities, and that's the woman.
That's badass. That's what
Charlotte
that is.
would be proud of you in this town.
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
mean, Charlotte would be proud of a lot of people in this town.
Yeah,
most definitely. You too.
Her spirit lives on, clearly.
Yeah. But for carrying on women. And
women have actually done an incredible job of pushing the arts forward in Prescott.
For
way
100
back,
years.
and way back,
from
Grace
the early,
Sparks.
yep.
Grace Sparks was an acolyte of hers. Kate Corey, and the late Jana Bommersbach, who was a good friend of mine, wrote a book called Hellraisers and Trailblazers, the real story of women in the West.
It's my kind of book.
Jana passed a couple years ago, and she said, Stuart, I can sit here and bash men about the vote and suffrage. She says, but the fact is, in 19 Western states, before women's suffrage was passed, men had to vote to give women the right to vote in all those Western states. And Arizona was one of those.
Yeah.
And so there was always something about the West which was attractive to people looking to reinvent themselves, to start over. Charlotte's parents did the same thing. They left Kansas looking for a new opportunity, better land, better seasons, and they found it out along Lynx Creek. We can see it now outside of Prescott called Orchard Ranch. It's a community out there. And Prescott is, well known for a lot of men and women, and a lot of very strong women who found a place here in Prescott, and they could make a difference through their civic activities, including most recently we know someone like Elizabeth Ruffner, who kind of picked up the baton in the mid 40s, right, going all the way back to Charlotte, and so we have a remarkable history that's fun to be a part of here in Prescott.
I also think I'm basing this a lot on my own family's migration west, but I think true to any cause, when you are moving somewhere brand new, and in this case, the Wild West, I think it takes all hands on deck.
It sure does.
And I think that when you're starting over and reinventing yourself, I think there is a true moment of reflection where you go, could I have done this without the other person?
No.
You know what I mean? And I think that it also is attributes to why I think, the westward movement and the West in its own makeup has been a little bit more accepting of pushing women's abilities forward, because it took everybody.
Right.
Hey, you can't really deny that. If you are
took the whole tribe.
If you're putting a stake in the ground and saying this is my land, and you have to start from nothing and live in a dugout till you get the house built while you're chopping down the trees in the forest, and then having the kids
It's
and
all
having to
hands
feed
on
them.
deck.
Everybody's contributing, and I think there's nothing like a momentous transformational era of time to teach the collective that everybody has a role to play.
Right.
And that's a nice thing.
Well, and I think that yesterday we had a great group of men and women here from the Northern Arizona Garden Clubs. It was a regional event.
Yeah.
And we talked about Charlotte's goal, her dream of having gardens and arboretum around the governor's mansion here for the museum.
Yeah.
And one of the things that as you travel the West and travel America, I'd say, is that, and I know this is true in my family, on both my wife's side of the family from Wyoming and my mother's, is that on the big farms and ranches, the men were the lead on the fields, unless there was a tragedy or, and it was all hands on deck. We had to bring in the fields. But women were in charge of the beauty around the house. It was their garden, their flowers, their fruit trees. They had to put up food for the winter. They canned the food. They taught the kids chores through taking care of the gardens. It was part of their survival. But at the same time, that beauty, that color that comes from flowers and the garden and the success of that around the home was always the woman of the ranch and the farm.
Yeah.
That's right.
For sure. But, and like I said, in my own family lineage, and I have many friends here that are native Prescottonians, and I talk about their families, and they often refer to themselves as like these feral people because it was the Wild West, but the women could also shoot guns, defend themselves, fix stuff. Doesn't mean that's where everybody, clearly goes to their strengths. Men likely stronger can go mend fences and ride the ranch and to your point, be the lead out in the land and in the activity of hunting and whatnot. But the women, they could make a beautiful home. They knew how to can fruit. They knew how to preserve things. They knew how to create hearths and warmth. I think that's just the beauty of the human existence. I think we were put on this earth in whatever lane of creation, and we are here to complement each other.
Well, and
it's nice when we recognize it.
Right. And we know in the ranching West, boys and girls all work the ranch.
That's right.
And one reason why we celebrate the rodeo here in Prescott, and what was started here in 1888, is that our rodeo, the world's oldest rodeo, founded in 1888, celebrating its 139th year.
Amazing.
In 2026, celebrates men and women and heritage. And why rodeos are so important part of summer across the American West is it is a fair, it is a weekend, a week, like here in Prescott, that we step back for a moment before every performance and remember the heritage that we're celebrating and honoring and passing forward. And in our next, we're going to take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about what's happening at Charlotte Hall Museum, the world's oldest rodeo, and why Prescott is Independence City in Arizona, the best 4th of July celebration anywhere in the 48th state.
Yes.
I'll agree to that.
Well, we've got one more good section to go, and I'm looking forward to that because I just know it's going to end well because it's gone so well. Now, the other day, someone said to me, said, Stan, you know, you've been involved in radio for maybe 40, 50 years. And I said, well, yeah, that's probably about it. Though I think I loved radio even before that. My mother says that at the age of 7, she caught me crawling up on the counter, and I was looking inside the radio to see where the people were. That kind of describes me. I've always loved radio. And, you know, part of what I would like to suggest to you is exactly what happened. Someone said, Stan, who are the most important people in a radio program? Is it the technicians? Is it the talent? Is it the sponsors? Who are just the most important people involved in a radio program? And I said, none of those. I said, the most important person, the most important people are the listeners, the viewers. And you know why I can say viewers? Because those of you who listen well have your imagination sparked and you see good pictures. You actually view a good radio program. And so you are the most important people. And thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for recommending. And thank you for making, because of the Charlotte Hall Museum, when you sponsor the Charlotte Hall Museum, you help sponsor this fine radio program that serves the people throughout Prescott, Arizona, throughout much of Arizona, maybe even around the country and around the world. Who knows? That's what you can do when you're on the radio. Let's go. Round 4.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Charlotte Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. We're having a beautiful spring day here, and my guests are Candice Devine and DJ Sheridan. And before the break, we started talking a little bit about some of the spring activities happening here, our history, our heritage. The city is just blossoming and blooming downtown, and the city are just vibrant right now. We are a growing city from your perspective in the chamber. Mm-hmm. Growth happening right now. People are moving in and out. New businesses happening.
Oh yeah, I've in the last month and a half, I've gone to 7 new ribbon cuttings.
That's big
of businesses and all facets of business. The Prescott Downtown Partnership is getting all of the downtown flowers and everything looking absolutely beautiful. The Chamber of Commerce, where we just had the whiskey off-road bike race.
That's huge. And then some. And what was going on this last weekend? That we had people running 250 miles.
I saw that. That was some big 250 marathon race, and they came through Prescott all on my feed. Guys taking naps in our local tunnels for 5 minutes and then getting back up and running another 40, 50. I don't know. Not my. I like competition and I like to test my body, but that doesn't sound fun.
No,
not one bit. But besides that, then we just open it up into all the Memorial Day activities
coming up. Yep.
We have the Bluegrass Festival coming up through the Chamber of Commerce, and then obviously,
and then of course, 250th year, 4th of July,
250, and
which is going to be really exciting.
We're busy on that day. We're those 2 days at least of that.
Well, at Charlotte Hall, we're really trying to bring the city, be reflective of what's happening in the city. So we're going to have a Bluegrass Act here in June, live here, one of our Twilight Tales. We've got cowboy singers and poets coming in July.
Love that.
And next year we're thinking about having a bicycle exhibit here.
Cool.
You know, in the spring, maybe even having a bike rally. People bring their historic bikes, a big bike rally on campus. We need to enlarge our bicycle collection here at the museum, and we also are going to have a big Route 66 exhibit happening here, opening on the 18th.
Cool.
Terrence Moore, who's been out on the Mother Road for over 50 years, photographing its change, the changes along the road. He's out of Tucson. He was a good friend of Edward Abbey's. Terry and I have known each other for a long time through Arizona Highways magazine. And he's going to have a big exhibit here on Route 66.
So cool.
And wasn't last weekend the 100th anniversary of Route 66?
I think it's the 100th anniversary. It was an anniversary of one of the announcements that the highway system was going to be built. November 11th is actually...
I was going to say, I think it's later in the year.
Is the anniversary of the U.S. Highway Act. And I'm one of those people who likes to champion the U.S. highways along with Route 66 because our very own Grace Sparks fought to make sure that Prescott was hub city, that 89 would go from Nogales to Canada and would cross US 60. She fought for it to come up through Phoenix and Wickenburg, go over to Ehrenberg, have the bridge built at Ehrenberg, only the second bridge across the Colorado River at that time. So, and then hook up with Route 66. Of course, they soon built a bridge across Needles, but her vision was Prescott needs to be on the national highway map. And if you're going north or south across, or east to west across the U.S., you have to come through Prescott.
That's amazing to have that foresight all the way back then.
Yeah. She had a vision. And, Prescott being a bicycle city, bicycles, they actually, before the car, it was bicyclists who were fighting for the good road movement.
Oh, that's so funny.
And,
it makes sense.
And it was bicycles were something that equalized everyone economically. If you could afford a bicycle, you didn't have to feed it.
Sure.
You didn't have to clean up after
Sure.
it. And lots of people all across the United States became bicycle crazy. And I gave a talk yesterday on Charlotte Hall, and I said, Charlotte, her family took the interstate in 1881 to Arizona. AKA the Santa Fe Trail and the Beale Wagon Road.
Sure.
But those wagon roads were still being used all the way up until the development of the U.S. Highway Act. Wow. They had just started building some roads across the country, but there was no uniform system.
Right.
So when Calvin Coolidge signed in the U.S. Highway Act in 1926, it was the biggest thing since Lincoln signed the Railroad Act in 1862.
Sure.
Of course, then President Eisenhower just, doesn't wait as long, right? Yeah. So 1956, 1955, he signs the Interstate Act. And much of our lives are defined by how the U.S. highways and interstates develop the West. But it's the foresight of some of our founding fathers here and mothers here in Prescott who said, we have to look forward. We have to plan forward. If we're going to be an economic hub, if we're going to be successful, if we're going to be in the game, transportation. And early on, all my research on the Black Canyon Highway that I've done and the history of Prescott, early on in the first couple of years, the state legislator here is like, we need better roads. And so they start funding or either toll roads or saying we need a better road from here to Santa Fe to connect the territorial capitals. Right. We need roads to connect the mines with Prescott. We need roads that connect us to California because that's where the commerce is, right? Mm-hmm. The commerce was in San Bernardino. You had to get to San Bernardino across the Mojave Desert. Things haven't changed.
Right.
And so Prescott's history, and you go that first year, 1864, they held the 4th of July celebration on the plaza. And they were building the Territorial Governor's Mansion here, which is now here at Charlotte Hall Museum. And they went down, they invited, and they had it in the paper. We had a newspaper. Somebody had the audacity by wagon and mule to bring in a printing press.
Wow.
In March, right in the spring of 64.
People were so much tougher and cooler.
Yeah.
I'm going to that town. I'm going to put up a tent and start a newspaper. So the paper chronicles the announcements, just like we do today, announcing upcoming events.
Sure.
And then they held on the 4th of July in 1864. They read the Declaration of Independence in English and Spanish. They had a marching band. They had a band, military band, soldiers from Fort Whipple. They had dignitaries,
What did you say the
townspeople.
flag? What was the flag on?
The flagpole was on a 144-foot ponderosa pine log.
I mean, listen,
That's great.
that's my point.
They went big.
Ingenuity. They were like, we can make this happen.
Right. And so then in 1888, locals formed the Prescott Frontier Day Rodeo, right? The world's oldest rodeo. And it celebrates community, it celebrates heritage, it celebrates the West. And I think that rodeo so defines who we are as a community and as really one of our oldest continuous institution here in Prescott. That when you say everybody's hometown, you want to get involved, well, step on up. You can volunteer, become part of the rodeo. And Charlotte Hall this year is on the bandwagon with celebrating the 4th of July. So let's get into the 4th of July in Prescott, Arizona from the Chamber's perspective. Tell us, so we know the rodeo kicks off Monday, right? The 29th.
Oh, I don't have a calendar.
Should we get our
but
calendar
I
out?
believe it's because the 4th of July is on a Saturday this year.
Yeah.
The 3rd is Friday. We're going to just work backwards. Second, first,
July.
30th,
Okay, yeah.
29th,
So the kickoff for all volunteers is Sunday night at 28th at the rodeo. The first opening show, 7 o'clock, the Monday, June 29th, and the rodeo has a single performance every night. And through the 4th of July, there's 2 performances on the 4th.
On the 4th,
there's a matinee,
and
a
then
nighttime.
And the 3rd is the nighttime.
And then the 5th is Old Timers Breakfast.
Yep.
And then the one matinee to close out the rodeo, the 139th World's Oldest Rodeo this year. So we've got the rodeo. Tell me what's happening downtown, and then we'll talk about what's happening at Charlotte Hall. 'Cause it's a huge week.
Yes, we have the parade happening. We have
That's Saturday the 4th.
We have the
250th
Year
anniversary of America.
So I'll be filming the 3rd and the 4th. So there's so many events that we have to go to on those days. It is going to be a fun-filled day because I think we're moving the fireworks from Watson, where it used to be Watson Lake,
Right.
because of pandemic. We're moving it back to Pioneer Park,
Okay.
which is going to be great. So we're going to have a couple lovely
I'm
bands.
singing I'm singing the national
4th.
anthem.
You're singing the national anthem on the 3rd.
Here
for the
at Charlotte
rodeo.
Hall Museum.
And then the 3rd
And then
at the
at the
rodeo,
rodeo.
that night.
Beautiful.
And then the 4th.
My band is headlining up into the fireworks.
Which one?
Ponderosa Grove at the park. And then we'll be ending our set with some patriotic songs as the fireworks begin. So it's going to be really fun.
Man.
It's going to be really special.
Do you give a little sneak preview of some patriotic songs?
No, it's not even fair to the listener right now because I sing
No,
so loud.
I mean, like, what are you singing?
We'll do, God Bless America. We're going to I might do the national anthem there as well. We're going to do America the Beautiful. And there's a chance, don't
I'm
quote me on
crying
this yet.
right here.
It's going to be really beautiful. There's a chance, I'm not positive yet. We're seeing if it
crossing
can
our
work.
fingers.
If we can get the drum line of Prescott High School and Prescott Valley High School to join us for the patriotic songs so that we will
It's gonna be-
bring in the fireworks with a very patriotic rendition.
If
of some
you
great songs.
can bring the bands from the Prescott High School band.
Well, their drum line. I don't get the
Drumline,
whole
get the
band.
drum line.
I don't get the
well,
whole
we
band.
want that drum line in the parade. We need more bands in
I
our
know,
parade.
right?
Right?
And so that's what I'm hoping to achieve is bringing up some of our young students and letting them see just how patriotic our town and our community are, and also be a part of it and put it in their own spirit
And
and
it's
soul.
the 250. I
And
mean,
it's
it's
the
just
250,
it's such a special year.
But what's happening is the downtown partnership have something happening on the plaza. There's a big events going on all weekend, right? On the plaza.
Oh,
There's-
yeah.
Yeah, I think they do all the
there's-
territorial.
There's so many events, Stuart. I can't keep track of them at all.
The point is, if you're in town for
If you're in
part of
town-
the year, you're going to have nothing but a good time.
This is the weekend to come into Prescott. The week you should be in here.
So July 3rd in the morning is the annual Kiwanis Kitty Parade.
Yep.
See, I don't know that.
Yeah, the Kitty Parade happens Friday morning, and following the Kitty Parade downtown, the Yavapai County Free Library District is going to be placing a time capsule onto the plaza.
And I believe you can go right in it, or was it when we did the Liberty Bell? It was
no,
when-
you can still do it. You can still contact the Yavapai County Library Free Library System. I think there's still opportunity to put things in there that'll go in this time
Oh,
capsule.
we should go
I
do
know.
that.
Then We are starting our first annual American Heritage Day here at Charlotte Hall Museum from 10 to 3. It's an old-fashioned family 4th of July event. It's $5 for adults. If you're a member, it's free, and children are free 17 and under.
Very cool.
We are going to have the Phoenix Brass Band here. We're going to have living history reenactors, military reenactors. Candice Devine has volunteered to sing the national anthem.
I love it.
We're going to have the Sons of American Revolution here.
Amazing.
They're going to be our color guard.
So cool.
And then we're going to read the Declaration of Independence. And I'm hoping to find someone who will read it in Spanish, along with I'll be reading it in English, like they did on the first 4th of July here in Prescott in 1864.
Wow.
Be very cool.
We're going to have kids games. We're going to have hot dogs.
It's going to be popping.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a lot of
Charlotte
fun.
Hall is popping off.
Kids parade. It's going to be one of the new signature events here in Prescott, the 4th of July week.
Amazing.
Yeah,
It's going to be so
Fantastic.
fun.
And
Well, I'm thrilled to be a part of it, just for whatever that's worth.
and there's the rodeo dance.
Yep.
And so
you have that. So I think the Friday night is when the kids can go. Saturday night is going to be the adults only.
Right. So we hope your camera might swing by Charlotte Hall for a little bit of our July 3rd
We're going to be
event.
busy all day.
He's going to be everywhere. So, and just for people who aren't aware, DJ is on HGTV on a show called The American Dream.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh, that's fantastic.
That's what he's filming for all
I'm a
weekend.
TV host that highlights the lifestyle of why we love living in Prescott, Arizona.
I love that.
So those will be my 2 busiest days.
Yeah.
So
because
let's-
there's too much to film.
Capturing it all.
Well, let's talk a little bit of how people can learn more about what we've been talking about today. So, people want to know about the Chamber. How do they learn about the Chamber of Commerce here in
You
Prescott?
just go to the PrescottChamberofCommerce.com. If you want to learn more about my show of what I'm doing, it's called The American Dream. If you just type Prescott, Arizona, DJ Sheridan's on that. And I own Sheridan Property Group as well.
Candice, how about you?
And if you'd like to keep up, we're on the road to 2027 for Pure Imagination Festival, and you can find out about that on pureimaginationfestival.com. As far as where I am singing and all the places I'm doing patriotic things and other, if you follow anything Candice Devine.
Candice Devine, you got to remember that. Do you have a billboard down on Sunset?
I know. That's what I always tease people. I'm like, people are like, can we call you Candy? And I said, you cannot. That is a $2 working lady. Candy Devine is not, and my voice is too deep for that. So Candice Devine.
What would Mae West have to say?
I know. She'd be like, put your lips together and blow. So I am around town quite often singing. I'm out of state and all over many other cities singing. And then,
you have a show.
and I have a radio show if you want to tune in on that. I have the soundtrack of Yavapai County. It airs every Saturday at 12:30 on KPPV, 99.9 FM or 95.5 in Cottonwood.
Don't you have a
and
show in
Prescott.
August?
Oh, and then, I'm performing in Prescott for the first time in a long time. We haven't done a show in Prescott in a while. We try to do at least one a year. But August 29th, Ponderosa Grove will be playing at the Highland Center, and it's one of our favorite gigs to do.
Oh, and their amphitheater?
And they're
Oh my
amphitheater,
gosh,
'cause
I've got to go to
out,
that.
Yeah, you're out in the forest, and we put up an acoustic, a
Wow.
really beautiful harmonic acoustic show. And we do it almost every year, I think. And it sells out every year. We anticipate it'll sell out this year, so they may be adding a second date. We're going to find out here soon.
I
But
love that.
that'll be August 29th. I'd love to have you there. It's a lot of fun.
And we may have to figure out how to have you perform here at
I
Charlotte
would be
Hall
very
Museum.
open to that. Very open to that.
Well, let's start talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of places here on campus where you can perform, and downstairs in our auditorium is a beautiful, nice little stage there.
Awesome.
Might just be perfect. So,
That would be great. I also love your amphitheater. I think it's absolutely a stunning environment.
well,
So
we might
that's
have
fun
to do that too.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to know what's happening here at Charlotte Hall, go to charlottehallmuseum.org. Look for all our upcoming events. Tickets are still on sale for Charlotte Cellar, our big fundraiser here on campus in our Gardens and Arboretum on the 16th of May. That's just coming up.
Buy those tickets. Go for me. I would be going if I were in town.
Yes.
So
Buy
go
those
for me.
tickets for your mother.
Yes.
Yes.
You can go online, charlottehallmuseum.org. Support our annual fund and helping us make sure that every third grader comes to the museum every year to learn Arizona history.
Yeah.
And put July 3rd, circle it, be here for American Heritage Day as we celebrate an old-fashioned family 4th of July. Thanks for listening to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebrook at Charlotte Hall Museum. And happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.